Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit more of the story behind the Chinese Zodiac. I mean, did you ever like read about that? About the story behind it, Mom?
About what?
About the Chinese Zodiac.
Everybody knows about that one. I suppose so, but
Mhm.
no. The first one is first one was a rat,
Mm-hmm.
the ox, tiger.
Oh, so the rabbit was fourth. I thought the rabbit was third. The other time I mentioned
The order, the order.
the order of the race.
Yes.
So.
I think kind of jumping a little bit.
So, I'm going to go read the story. It's called The Race to the Finish. And this is from billingslibrary.org. And it's just a brief story, explanation of the story. There are many varieties of this story, and some say that the Jade Emperor called a race of animals on his birthday to create the Chinese Zodiac. Others say that it was in fact the Buddha who did. Nevertheless, both stories are essentially the same, excluding some minor details. According to myths, the 12 animals of the Chinese Zodiac were selected through a race, and this race is meant to create a time measurement for the people. There could only be 12 winners, and in order to win, the animals had to cross a rapid current river and reach the finish line on the shore. So, yeah, Mom, just make sure you scoot in a little bit more so you're in here. So where I left off was, originally there was a cat and a rat who hated each other with a passion. It's hard to believe that they were once friends. These two were the worst swimmers in the animal kingdom, but they were both very smart. They discovered that the fastest way to the river is to hop on top of the ox. The generous ox agreed to carry them across the river. However, the rat was so eager to win that he pushed the cat into the water. Thus, the cat never forgave the rat and wasn't included in the race. Other variations of the story say that the rat just never told the cat about the race and did not even complete it all. So there are, different variations of it. The ox and the rat made it to shore. The rat jumped in front of the ox and came in first place on the race. The ox obviously came in second, and the tiger finished in third place. All of a sudden, a loud thumping sound came, and it was the rabbit. It jumped from one stone to another and was doing well until it slipped. Fortunately, there was a log floating by, and it grabbed onto that log and floated to the finish line, earning the fourth place in the race. In fifth place was the dragon, but everyone thought that it would come in first because it could fly. It told Jade Emperor that it had to stop a couple of times to help some villagers, and rabbit too. After the dragon, the horse came galloping towards the finish line. The sneaky snake was hidden behind the horse's foot. It suddenly appeared and the horse was scared, and so the snake took advantage of this and landed itself in sixth place, and the horse ended up landing in seventh place. Soon after, the monkey, the rooster, and the sheep landed onto shore, and unlike some of the previous animals, these three actually helped each other to get to the finish line. The rooster found a raft, and the monkey and sheep hopped on. Working hard together through the water currents and the weeds, they reached shore. The sheep came in 8th place, the monkey in the 9th place, and rooster in the 10th. In 11th place was the dog, and even though it was a great swimmer, it was late. It told the emperor that it needed a bath, and the fresh water from the river was too tempting. Right when the emperor was going to close the race, an oink sound was heard, and it was the pig. Lazy little pig originated from this story. The pig felt hungry in the middle of the race, so it stopped and ate something, and then it fell asleep. After it awoke, it finished the race in 12th place and became the last animal to arrive. The order of the lunar calendar follows the outcome of this race, where the rat is the first animal to start the sequence. The pig is the last. After the pig, the sequence starts all over again. The lunar calendar has been a significant calendar for China and the Chinese Zodiac. Many parts of the world are also familiar with this calendar. So that's the story overall, in a very generalized, summarized sense. But I just always find it super fascinating every time I read it. What do you think?
It is fascinating.
Yeah. And I love it when things have a story behind it, because when something has a story that goes along with it, it has an ability to grasp the attention so much more, and it almost gives it a deeper meaning.
Yes.
This is the year of the rabbit.
Yeah.
I am a rabbit in Chinese. Well, I think I'm actually on the cusp of being a rabbit and a dragon, because when I was born, it was in Chinese lunar year. I would be considered still in the rabbit year. However, I was born here, so I still have dragon traits. My mom is, what is your?
Ox.
My mom is an ox, but you came in before I did. You were before me in the race. So she actually came before me.
As far as the order goes.
As far as the order goes. So I wanted to ask you, since you're an ox, what traits of the ox have you definitely resonated with a lot?
Oh my gosh. Ox, I think, are very, just like an ox, diligent,
Mm-hmm.
you know, work hard-working person, not patient, practical,
Yeah, practical.
practical, trustworthy,
Yes, reliable for sure.
very reliable,
Yeah.
dependable.
I actually would say it's very similar to the sign of Taurus in Western astrology. Taurus is the bull, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a good combination of the sign of Taurus and the sign of Virgo combined. They're both earth signs, Virgo and Taurus.
I have a lot of earth in me. My chart,
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, a lot of earth.
Lots.
So-
But yeah, she has a lot of earth in her chart, a lot of Virgo.
But I'm not a adventurist. Yeah, not a very adventurous.
When you go on an adventure, you can go on an adventure. But when adventure time is over, it goes back to mundane routine.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
my routine thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
See, she would be completely fine with just like,
yeah,
being at home, doing her own thing,
yeah,
quiet time.
yeah.
She's very much like, it doesn't bother her to have quiet time.
And I like to be alone too.
Yes.
But at the same time, I also enjoy having friends, do things together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not like a naturally, some people just a loner, not that kind of person.
No, yeah.
But I enjoy being alone.
You do.
I would never feel like, oh my gosh, I'm staying home all by myself, I'm so lonely.
Yeah.
The lonely never
Yeah.
resonate with me.
Right.
I always have things to do.
You've always
Keep myself occupied and then interesting. Friendship, very selective. I don't just randomly everybody,
Right.
Yeah, very selective.
Yeah. You've always been very decisive. You have never been indecisive. When she makes a decision, it takes her a little bit longer to make it. The only reason why it's not because she can't decide something, is because she's doing her research to make sure that whatever she is about to decide, she is going to be fully ready to make that decision. So,
I think I have that inner balance. Somehow I recognize that part in me, regardless of sometimes the things in the past, came like a wave, it's like a coming, going,
Yeah.
hit you, or sometimes you feel overwhelmed, But then, at the same time, I can draw the strength, the spirit, that I somehow I was able to managing to balance myself out, that, and then ended up with some kind of a good result, or kind of things taken care of, capability of balancing emotionally, mentally, that kind of, the juggle, the spirituality part of it. That's a big part of me. Spirituality, that is something that you don't see it, that it's in you. And then I loved good books. Over the years, I love Deepak Chopra, Indian, the East Indian religion, that I'm going to church,
Right.
I love that teaching Jesus. I mean, I just pour everything, even with the practical thing, like with the New Age thing. I love the earth because I have so much earth in me. So I love to using those property. I mean, the natural stones or song, anything that bring that kind of resonance or bring that kind of frequencies. But I just embracing all actually.
Yeah.
I'm very open. You know, I'm not like just in my own little world. When I got older, I'm more open, more embracing, and at the same time, I'm very careful. You know, careful not to get into something that might bring the the
Right.
bad spirit.
Temptations.
Yeah.
You were always very good about knowing
Discernment,
and not being tempted by curiosity. You just had the ability to say, no, I don't need that. I might be curious, but I'm not going to take a risk. Some other people, they're more willing to take risks. And that's it. I guess that's what you were meaning, like I'm not very adventurous. It doesn't mean that you don't like adventure, but you have a practical adventurousness.
Yeah.
You're more nature adventure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nature adventure, which reminds me of another person I know as well.
I'm content
Yeah.
with what I have, you know,
Yeah.
and I will not to go out of my way to do things just because I
Right.
want to get what other people are envious of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, compete or whatever you
That's
call
another
it.
very important thing too, because yeah, it's so true. It's a part of the ego. It's a part of just, an animalistic side, ego, shadow side will have that tendency.
And that again, it goes with age. When you were younger,
Right.
I was that way too.
Oh, okay.
I was younger. Oh yes.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you're at least admitting it.
I wish what the good things,
Right.
finery things, good things I do. You know,
Yeah.
not a pair of good shoes,
Right.
clothes, dress. I love that thing.
You
But
were
then-
always very humble.
Yeah, but then at the same time, to a point. Sometimes years later, I look at my closet. I said, how did I get that one? I only wore it once or twice. Only just hanging in my closet.
funny.
You know. So that happens too.
Yeah.
I just want it. I got it. I want it.
That's so funny.
Now I definitely I slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just
Declutter a lot.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that. Not like
Yeah.
that. I always said it so.
Yeah.
So appropriate,
Right.
so practical.
Just growing up and watching your example, I've noticed that you have a very well-developed emotional IQ.
I hope so.
I think you do.
Again, yeah.
I struggle with that part.
It takes
Yeah.
time. It takes time. Yeah,
Yeah.
the inner practice, whatever you just
Yeah.
because it's like something before you come out your mouth, you kind of pause
Yeah.
before it comes out. I do not want to say things I feel regret.
Right.
So I pause
Yeah.
and then I let it sink.
Just being able to hold yourself together and keep a quiet space. We're both very special, we are both very special, yes. But we're both very spiritual, I think. But spirituality is manifested in different ways. So you're spiritual in a sense where you're quiet. You have that yin spiritual nature, which is the feminine, right? Yin is the divine feminine energy. Yang is the masculine energy, but just as spiritual.
Yeah.
They're both spiritual,
Yeah.
but they manifest and show in different ways.
Yeah.
So for me, I am at a point where I don't need to get rid of my yang because my yang energy is important. It is important to have that fire because that is what kickstarts you to get your dreams,
Right,
to
right.
go for what
Driven.
you want,
Driven.
to drive. But I'm also trying to incorporate my inner yin more because I am still very much needing to give attention to my inner feminine.
Sure.
And then that goes in line with, the animus. Every woman has an animus, inner animus. Have you ever heard of that before?
I'm not quite sure.
Every man has their inner anima, which represents their mother,
Oh, okay.
that they keep within them.
Yeah.
It could either be a good thing, a good influence, or a bad one. It could be trauma, childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Every woman has their inner animus, which represents their father.
Sure.
So for me, I'm trying to work through my inner traumas and to heal my inner animus.
Yeah.
Because once I can heal my inner animus, which represents my dad,
Sure.
and my inner child,
Mm-hmm.
then I can integrate it within myself and have a healthy masculine animus.
Yeah. You're on the healing process, healing journey.
Yeah.
That means that that every little bit here there that fulfill the inner inner pursuit. That's something that you feel this is what I can do, and then to bring myself together.
Well, that was a good talk, and thank you for joining me, Mom.
Hi.
You're kind of like, why are you weird?
I thank you.
Well, that was fun. Hopefully, we can do more talks like this
That's awesome.
because I enjoy it. I
do
enjoy it a
too.
lot.
I do
It's
too.
fun.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Lovely. Yeah.
Well, we'll see you later.